guys. What a start. What a start.
That was awesome.
What a start. Well, we're here today, obviously, with Frank Sergi from Bold Spaces and Loretta Cavallaro, who's also my sister from Varo Property. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank
G'day,
you.
thanks.
Yeah, no, well, it was very good to see you guys. I like the pink mic, Rhett.
Thank you. It's my special mic.
Yeah. You've always been special. Right?
Always.
Oh, man. So, Frankie, we've obviously done a bit of work together recently and in the past too. And you're probably one of the best stagers of furniture out there, especially at the moment. And I think Loretta can agree to that too. That's why she's giving you a few jobs this week as well.
Thanks, guys.
All right. So how did it all start for you, Frank?
Pretty much my cousin Antonetta Sophia, she's a interior architect here in Adelaide. She kind of started a little side business for just a couple agents and a developer who wanted staging done when she had done, the interior side of it. So she started that up, and it got a little bit too busy for her a couple of years in, and she was looking to sell because it was, just she couldn't manage it after, she's got a lot on her plate already. So I looked at it. It was a good business. I had good relationships in the industry.
Yeah.
So just basically went in, dove into it, and went from there. And yeah, it's been going pretty good since.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely one of the best networkers out there too. You don't just have a velvety voice for radio, but when it does come to business as well, I mean, it's just everyone knows you, Frankie, and it's been good to see you sort of grow. So how long ago did you take over?
So I took over just over a year ago now.
Yeah.
And growth has been huge. When I took over, we could do roughly about 9 houses. They were probably doing about 3 every 6 weeks. So it was small. It was just, like I said, it was saying on the side for her, just to cater for some of her clients. In the year, we've taken over. Now I've got about probably 20 to 30 agents that I work with and about 7 builders. And at the moment, we're probably at a capacity about 50 houses
in a year,
in a 6-week period.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you store all that?
Storage is becoming
It's
a problem.
the fun part.
Yeah.
It's becoming a problem. So I've got a warehouse. We got our warehouse where all our furniture is kept. Majority of it's obviously our houses. So a lot of times we go, to run the business well, we move from one house to the other. Obviously we change it up, different artwork and the bedding and stuff like that changes. But yeah, if I got it all back right now, I'd be in trouble. I'm actually in the process of looking at a new warehouse right now.
Okay.
So to my real estate agent friends.
Yeah, any commercial agents out there?
Commercial
Let's see
agents.
what's going on.
Yeah.
Right, and well, that's really good that you've been able to grow so quickly, and obviously that's a reflection of your work, right? So is it just you who runs it? So how's it sort of set up with a team or?
So obviously it's me who runs like the quoting and drumming up the business, and just keeping the relationships with guys like you, all my other agents and builders. So I do all the quoting and all the running around, and then I've got my team of girls who do the styling, and then I've got three driving agencies that I subcontract and get all the drivers in, and they do all my deliveries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the drivers would pick up, I'm assuming, the furniture from the warehouse, take it to the property, and then your stylists meet them out there and sort of tell them where to.
Yeah. Well, they meet on at warehouse first, or if they're picking up from another property.
Yeah.
But generally, it's the warehouse. They'll meet at warehouse. The girls will have everything ready. So the girls will have all the bags packed with all the cushions and throws and that side of it that they're going to do.
Yeah.
And then all my girls have got colours, like they got stickers that mean them.
Yeah.
So they sticker everything that is going to be going out.
Yeah.
And the boys just walk around and grab everything with those stickers on it, and the girls obviously help out, to say, don't forget that, don't forget this, and put on the truck.
Yeah.
They get to the job, then
You always need a woman to coordinate things.
Yes, you do.
You got to say that when you're next to her, man. She's got a good right hook too.
We do. You need a woman's touch. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a clue about the styling. Oh, I'm picking up on it now.
Get it? Yeah.
I reckon I could do it now.
Yeah.
I tell my girls that all the time. I try to jump in. They tell me to piss off. But yeah.
Yeah, killer.
Yeah.
Well, Loretta, I should say, not Reds.
Is that right?
Whatever,
That's
either way. Now, you've been in real estate for quite a long time. In your experience of selling established property, how much of a difference has a stage property made to sort of a vacant property?
It's massive. And I've actually got one example, which I'm so grateful for. So about 10 years ago, there was a property in St. Peter's. The property was vacant and I recommended to get staging in. Didn't know you then.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing it then.
Another company that we were using at the time.
Yeah.
So got a quote. The owner didn't want to do it at that stage. At that time, it was only a 3-bedroom sort of smaller unit. And the quote back then from memory was around $1,200. And I know it's gone up a bit since then. It was a smaller home. The owner had said no. We went on the market and 2 weeks in, we were getting offers around the $450 mark and her hope price was sort of that higher fours. And I just really encouraged her to get the furniture in. So she listened and we did take the property off the market, got the furniture in, got it reshot with photography, back on the market, and within 2 weeks had 5 or 6 offers, can't remember now, but there was multiples, and ended up selling it for $497.5.
Wow.
So that is a real life example of the difference of furniture. So in that particular scenario, I think the highest offer pre-furniture was $455.
Wow.
So massive difference.
So 42 grand. Chunk.
Yeah.
I was trying to add that up in my head
Yeah,
just then, and
right.
I couldn't do it.
You
But
used the
42 and a half, 42 and a half grand difference. So to me, it takes people into a different price bracket.
Yep.
And it is a small investment. I mean, these days it's between 2 and 4 grand, I would say, dependent on the size of your property. And it's the best investment you can make because, as you know, when you're selling, it comes down to some things being in alignment, one of which is presentation, which staging's,
Well, I guess the big thing about presentation is it helps to sort of create that emotion to any buyer that's walking through the property, because seeing it as empty rooms and just an empty space, it's really hard to visualise what a queen-size bed with 2 bedside tables will look like in a bedroom, what my dining room table is going to look like when I'm sitting there eating with my family, and all throughout the home. Yeah.
For two main reasons. When you're going into a vacant property, number one, rooms look a lot smaller with no furniture. And I didn't realise that until I got into real estate, to be honest with you, but it does, fact. And secondly, when you're going into a vacant property, because you don't get the opportunity to get emotionally attached because there's nothing to get emotionally attached to, you're looking at skirting boards and walls. And you'll find that if there are some faults, they're quite easily to be seen. So it just takes the eye off of, what makes you feel emotionally attached to a property, and look at, sometimes the flaws if it's there.
I want to ask you, Frank, is it hard sometimes, because I know there's some vendors and sellers out there that, they leave some of the furniture and only like part stage a property. Does it make it a bit harder for you to sort of match the furniture to what they've got? Because if someone's got big, bulky, ugly ass furniture and you've got to go there and try and make it look pretty, I'm sure that's a pretty hard job to do, right?
It is, but we always try to help out. Basically, we'll go through a house first if it's a part style, and we'll tell them, look, you have to remove this. You don't, we can keep this. We can work with this. However, a lot of times, if it's, if they simply can't remove it, maybe it's a heavy item, or they, they're just older couple or something like that. We just tell them we'll work around it. We'll make it look as good as we can, and basically that's what we do, and they normally come up looking pretty well. It's more about a lot of those older places, it's more about the decluttering as well, just to make sure that it's just nice and cleaned up and everything's put away, and maximize the space.
I understand, because some people hoard a little bit as well.
Definitely.
And you've been in a property for a long time, you're gonna have a lot of shit that's built up over time that you need to sort of look at moving around and storing and that sort of thing too. You've obviously you've gone from 9 houses to 50 on the go in a 6-week period, right? So you've obviously worked with a lot of agents. Have they sort of reported back to you like their feedback of results when it comes to selling and how much it helps them sell the property? Or?
Yeah, well, in regards to feedback in that, they do I haven't really had that discussion with most of them. However,
they keep coming back.
They keep coming back. Yeah,
and you know, it's really hard. It is really hard to measure because unless I had that real life example, I mean, I think it's great because I sell property, but I wouldn't be able to hand on my heart say to Frank, "Hey, it's actually making this owner X amount of dollars more." So I think the great thing
you never know anymore because
you don't know any better.
It is staged and that it's
staged
what it
from the start.
So you don't know. However, look, what I can say is that the majority of our properties do sell within our period is a 6-week period. Majority of our properties sell within that 6-week period. If on the occasion when they don't, it might drag out a little bit more. And normally, when it does drag out a little bit more, it's because they've got 2 or 3 properties to sell. It's a development.
Subject to sale.
It's a development, and they're doing.
Okay,
sorry,
1 to 3. They're selling 3.
Yeah.
So it
takes.
Them over. That's exactly right, and we move it into the next one.
Yeah. So what happens typically? Say if you get to the 6-week period and they haven't sold. Is there an option to sort of keep the furniture, or do you need to take it out? Yeah.
So the option is it's a 10% with us. It's a 10% charge per week thereafter. Obviously, if you do the maths, it works out cheaper after the 6-week period because 10%, times by that the 6 weeks isn't the amount that we charge for our normal fee. Yeah. So it's a 10% fee thereafter per week.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, Loretta, with you, do you find it makes a difference whether it's established or new property to stage it, or it works for everything?
Works for everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything.
I don't think it's... Sorry, Loretta.
No, you're right. I'm used to being interrupted, Frankie.
I don't think it's really the way it's going. I don't think it's an option anymore. I think it's
necessity.
A necessity now.
100%.
It's and you speak to agents, and all my agents, every listing will try to get us in to do it because they know how much it helps them get a sale and get it quicker. Because like you said before, I think the stats show that saying like 70% of people can't visualize an empty space. Yeah. Number one. And number two, when you do have that kind of cluttered, place and older looking furniture, it also makes it hard for you to sell because it's not visually.
It makes it hard to get top price.
Yep.
And that's the thing. To get a premium price, you need to have a few things in alignment, and the biggest one is presentation.
Yep.
And actually,
you only get one chance of it.
That's right. One chance to sell. So put it in the best light to get the best result. We're actually working on one together at the moment in Queenstown, and it was awesome. These owners are amazing. Yeah. And I went to the appointment, and I didn't even have to introduce styling. They actually said to me, they're not doing anything until they can get all their shit out, all their furniture, and they want to get the whole house styled. So I think it's actually becoming more common knowledge that is what is a requirement to get to get the best result.
Well, it makes sense, right? Because like you said, there's always 3 things that an agent wants to sort of get off the checklist when they're talking to anyone about property, right? Yeah. So, which is presentation, price,
and marketing.
So I don't have to say it, right? But yeah, so Rets, when you speak to a vendor who maybe is a bit more closed off to the idea of staging, what do you sort of say to them to sort of explain the process and why it's such a benefit to them, and sort of get that as part of their vendor paid advertising?
So the example that I guess I started off this conversation with is what I use when I'm in listing appointments, and it's the truth and it's a fact. So I'm actually really grateful that it happened in my career because it's a real life example of an offer pre-furniture and offer post staging and post furniture. Yeah. So once you sort of say that and you say, you educate people as well on the process and on the demands in property right now. And to get a premium result in the shortest time frame, you have to have the property looking its best. Yeah. So it's like when we go out and get ready, we want to look our best, So it's the same with the property. Yeah. You got people coming in and they're looking at 5 or 10 other properties in that same day. You've got to stand out from the rest. So
especially when it's a buyer's market and things are down and they've got such a selection. Especially in the past 6 months, it's sort of been like that for buyers where they've had sort of too much to choose from. It
Yep.
can be overwhelming, and it's something small that might make that final decision for them. Because, you know, like anything, if I got a choice of, you know, 5 meals in front, you got a big menu when you go out to a restaurant. It's hard to pick what you want to eat.
Yep.
And
right?
also the fact, Mike, is that a lot of the properties these days are built brand new. So when you're also an older property competing with a brand new property that's styled, you have to compete with that as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's even more so important for established and older properties to position himself in the best way by doing that, because people are going through some, you know, new built crisp properties.
Yeah.
So you got to stand out.
Yeah, well, before I think it was, you know, back in probably in those times, it was more a point of difference when you got styling.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Now, like I said, with it being a necessity because everyone's doing it, when you don't do it, a buyer, even though they it's probably self-conscious, like, you know, in the back of the mind, you know, you walk into a property and now they I guess they kind of guess that they're staged because everyone knows about it now and it's kind of more readily done. If it's not done, it looks weird.
Yeah.
So
it's true. It's so true.
But in the transition stage, it's funny you bring that up, because in that transition stage when it was becoming popular, people used to come through opens and be like, oh, is this property staged? Like, it used to be like,
it was just trying to trick
They
them.
still do.
Yeah.
They still do.
And but now it's more commonplace that I don't really get that question too often.
Yeah.
You know, so
It's more like, can I buy the furniture that's in there that
that's
I get?
right.
Right?
Yeah,
No bullshit,
so
all
what
the
you were
time.
saying before about the emotional attachment,
Yeah.
do you know how many, I can't tell you how many times we've staged a property and the actual people selling it, and it's mainly the older houses, not the new ones.
Yeah.
The older guys who have moved their furniture out or whatever. We've come in and done something, you know, and just made it so much more simple and opened up the house, and they've gone, shit, we want to move back in.
is this what this house can look like?
I'm not selling it anymore. You know,
Well, that's a good job done then, if that's the result,
True,
right?
man.
Yeah.
So do you sell furniture often back, or do you just?
No. So obviously after a period, we're always upgrading and buying. I buy a heap of new stock. I buy stock every week. So after a period of time, you know, stuff gets, you know, with our removalists getting moved, outdated.
Of course.
We'll sell it. Yeah. So
I want the table in
at a
Port from Paul Street.
Yes,
You're
I
the
know the
widower.
one. You already told
Let
me.
me know
about
when
that.
that's for
I know the
sale,
one.
I'll
You
buy
already
that
told me. You already told me. Yeah. I left you that thing there, didn't I?
What?
You wanted the
Oh, the signboard thing.
The signboard.
Yeah, no, I haven't got it.
I left it there.
Did you?
I left it there for you.
Oh, shit.
I think I did.
Check your...
I should have. No, I reckon
It
I
was
did.
this cool little, like, board in the kitchen and it had strings on it and the word love. And I'm like, oh, my God, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm like, Frank. I was at the open. Frank, where'd you get this picture for this whatever it's called? Like, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I don't think you did, man. But
I reckon I did.
Did you? I'm gonna go knock on the new owner's house. See
So
if
hey,
it's
don't
got
leave
it
a
there.
love
It's in
sign
there.
behind. Yeah.
And it's one with the pegs that you can hang pictures on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
that's
cool,
why you
man.
like it. Yeah.
It's very
It's
I didn't
love,
think-
and
I
I
didn't think
hang
much
what
of it.
people I love.
Love
on
it. That's right.
That's what she's thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Sentimental.
So how do you stay on top of like sourcing stock? Like it'd be a difficult sort of balancing act, right?
Well, it is. Number one, obviously, I'm thinking about my warehouse now.
Yeah.
With, you know, when we get stuff back or whatever. But most times, like I said, with our growth as well, even though I'm getting more stock, I seem to be able to be getting them out. So, you know, that's kind of okay at the minute. But I do stay on top of it. I just buy prior. Like, I basically know where the business is going, where I want it to be. So I've got goals, you know, set in place. And the team does do a good job. So I'm pretty confident in what we deliver, so that I know our growth is still going to be there. So I'm just always on top of it, like buying. This week, to be honest, we're nearly at capacity, and I got 3 jobs came through last minute. So so that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, an extra 3
Mamma mia.
coming.
We're going into spring, man. You need to get more furniture.
I'm going to be doing a bit of running around.
Yeah. Be a busy little bee, right?
And I'm not much of a handyman. So, it came to a bit of a shock when I had to start putting tables together and using drills and shit like that. This is not for me, but yeah, I've had to learn.
You got the look like you know what you're doing. Yeah.
That's what Carmen said last week. What'd you say? I'm not that. What did you
Not that handy.
I'm not that guy.
He's not that guy.
When you'll mark up around this shit.
Hey,
He's
self-awareness is an important thing.
I'm not
you know
that
what I mean?
guy.
Yeah. But Frankie, you mentioned goal setting, right? Is that something you do as part of your business? And you know,
Yeah, I do. I don't have it. I'm not like a person who writes stuff down and
She
sits
only
down.
just switched to an electronic calendar recently.
I remember that.
Loretta told me to. Yeah.
We
That was
used to
the
come to
funniest
appointments with this big paper diary. I'm like, man, I mean, I'm a bit slow with technology, but that's like
I've still
ancient.
got it. I've still got my book, and I actually said to Dommy, my account, the lady who works in my accounts now, the other day, because she does, I send through all my jobs, she puts them down on a spreadsheet, emails it to me every week. And I said to her, Dommy, can you print that out for me so that I can still cross it off and stuff like that? Because I'll stuff it up.
I'm a bit old school like that too, though.
I like paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted that.
I forgot the question.
No, it's about goal setting. So
Goal-
you don't
goal
write it
setting.
down. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I don't have, but I do know where I want to be.
Yeah.
And that's more on a personal level. And I guess because it's my business, I've got the luxury to kind of set the goal to where I want, So, yeah, I know kind of like a work-life balance, that I want. Yeah. And I've got that goal in place. It's come kind of quicker than what I expected.
Yeah.
I was pretty much when I started thinking that I'd maybe get it up to doing 5 every month.
Yeah.
It's obviously 5 times that now, so
it's massive, man.
That's
but so I think it'll get to a point where I think I'll have a limit, and I'll just cut off there. Obviously at the start I wasn't saying no to business, but it probably will get to a point where I'll just have to say we can't do it right now, it'll have to be next week. But at the moment we're pretty good, and I've never missed I've never missed one yet, missed a date.
No.
And like I said, I'm getting last minute calls, and we're still getting them done in 2 days or 1 day, with 1 day notice. So we're still getting them done at the moment. So
like I said at the start of this podcast, man, you're one of the best movers and organisers and networkers that I've seen. So it's not going to slip through your fingers if there's a challenge.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I like the challenge a little bit, but also I don't like to let people down that I work for and with. So my number one goal is customer service, and it's not to it's obviously in regards to the staging, our number one goal is to help the vendor sell.
Yep.
Right, but from a personal level, to make my business run well, I know that it's reliant upon me to make sure that my real estate agents and developers and builders that we work with are happy with what we do, and that we get it done at a time that they're looking for. So it's customer service as in everything.
Yes, it's true, and it comes through in the work and the delivery and the result too, because if it's if the energy isn't right from the start, it just sort of snowballs effect with sort of negative energy. And then something as simple as being on time for something can actually mess up the whole process of the listing. You know. And Rets, so you obviously been in real estate a long time, and we're just talking about goals earlier. So for you, has goal setting been a big part of your success?
Absolutely. I can't live without goal setting.
Yeah.
So from when I entered the real estate industry, from day one, like week one, I set myself some really big goals. And for me in my business, that's what I need to do to not only achieve them, but smash them. So I set goals that I definitely want to obtain quite conservatively. And then I do everything in my power to go above and beyond what I've set myself. So for me, and I guess that's how, Varo was born as well, was a goal setting that I did in Melbourne when I wanted to come home. Make it happen. So for me, it was really important to set my, not only yearly goals, but my 3-year, 5-year, 10-year, I had 20-year plans as well. But as I've gotten older, I've sort of focused more. I did that when I was younger.
Yeah.
As I've gotten older, I've focused more on my 1 to 2 years, to be honest. So I don't really have, I mean, I've set that framework 10 years ago for what I wanted for my life. But now I'm focusing more on the 12 to 24 months because things change so quickly.
Definitely.
And our business has changed so quickly that we're, consistently bringing in new things and in new different ways. So, yeah, I've still got the big plans that I want to achieve in life. But, yeah, my focus now is more on the, what's in front of me. And even this year, I've done a 6-month plan just to get to the end of the year.
Yeah. To smash it out.
Yeah, just smash
it out. 6 months, which is good. But you mentioned Melbourne there. So you're obviously selling property in Adelaide and then moved to Melbourne to do that.
Yeah.
How was that transition from an Adelaide property market to a Melbourne property market, and what sort of differences did you have with that?
Well, I eased into it quite well because I just didn't have any fear around it. But if I look back at the journey, having no fear is so important in anything we tackle in life, because I went from Adelaide, a little small town, to
the big country town they call us.
A big country town, is it? All right. Yeah. To Melbourne, where it's obviously quite vast. So I got a job at a company which specialised in off the plan, and had projects all around Victoria. So I actually learnt Melbourne quite quickly. But I studied the plan of Melbourne. So what was it called? It was called Plan Melbourne. Yeah. I studied that plan, and I studied the projects really, really intensely, and went to the sites and do all the things you should do anyway. So I ended up knowing definitely the regions I was selling quite well, and obviously picked it up. And Melbourne's very thoughtfully planned. Yeah. So there's definitely no coincidence why it was named the most livable city in the world. Yeah. It's planned so strategically, and it was so easy to get around that although it's a much bigger city, it was actually quite easy to adapt. In relation to the market there, it's so much quicker. So I think that especially with off the plan apartment townhouse sales, it's definitely adopted more over there. It's definitely picking up here in South Australia now, but that's taking some time. But over there, you're dealing with a different group.
So why did you move to Melbourne from Adelaide?
Well, I really wanted to upskill myself in the off the plan sector. So at that point in time, I was a co-owner of an LJ Hooker office, where my business partner bought me out, and it's a great little office. Then I moved to Melbourne predominantly to upskill myself in this arena, because I looked around South Australia and thought, where can I learn this? And I wanted to learn it so well that I wanted to create a business around it. And I thought, well, where in Australia can I learn this? So I thought a bit bigger than the hometown. And Melbourne, it was Melbourne or Sydney. And I'm so glad I went to Melbourne.
Definitely.
It's more your style.
It's definitely more my style.
I mean, your first week, then you have like a $3,000 shopping bill from buying all the clothes.
$3,500, bro.
Sorry.
And that was a 3-hour session.
Because you're not like a long shopper sort of person.
No, man, I don't like shopping.
Yeah, at all.
But I enjoyed that 3 hours. It was great. Let's jack up one there. But what I did though is I was pedantic about where I wanted to work. So I literally, and I know that might sound arrogant, but it's not. I had a clear vision of what I wanted. And I took 6 months off. I was a bit burnt out at the time anyway, but 6 months, not off, but 6 months to find the right job. And everyone I went for, I actually did get offered the job, but I turned down a few because I whatever reason, didn't have the right feel. And then the company I worked for were amazing people. And just really learnt a lot. And in my first month of sales in Melbourne, I did 13 sales off the plan. So
killed it.
Yeah, it was massive. Yeah.
In a city you didn't even know yet.
Didn't know it, nah. But I learnt it, loved it. It's my second home now, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, you got property over there now too, don't you? So, I was speaking to Calm today about you, Frankie, right? And
hope it was good.
It was all good. Not just about how much of a strapping young lad you are, but
bit older now, but
yeah, that's all right. It's only starting to show through. But he loves poker. I love poker, and I know you love poker.
I love poker.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I'm not very good at it.
Okay.
But I love it.
I didn't mean to leave you out.
That's all right. I just thought I'd add it to the boys club.
Yeah, and I know you're actually pretty good in the poker. Well, you know, you haven't won the World Series of Poker. Like,
Oh, that would be a dream.
that'd be a dream, right?
That's a goal.
But you have gone to Vegas and played in tournaments and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, I've played the World Series,
Yeah.
Once, and definitely we'll be doing it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's it like? Like, how do you even get into the World Series from
You buy,
Adelaide?
you fly over and you buy in. You dump some money, pretty much.
Like everything in life. What do you pay?
Treat it like a holiday, I guess. Well, that's how I look at it. And then anything on top's a bit of a bonus.
Yeah. So you start playing here with mates, or how'd you start?
Yeah, started playing with mates, and it was funny because there was about 12 of us playing, you know, once a week, twice a week sometimes. We're all young, single, we could do whatever we wanted then.
Yeah.
So we were going around each other's house, our mum's houses,
Yeah.
and playing cards. And getting fed and stuff like that. It was good.
Happy day.
Yeah. So I remember sitting down, and one of my mates said to me, because he was already a bit more established than all of us.
Sure.
And he was playing some decent games, and he said to me, Frank, goes, I could tell like a few of you how into it you are. You'll see like it'll develop, and you won't be able to come and play this game. Like, you won't want to sit down and play we're playing $10 tournaments, you know, for 2 hours to win $50. You know, it was a bit of fun. He goes, your game will change, and you won't be sitting down at tables like that anymore, just because you won't find the enjoyment in it anymore at that level. And I guess it's because the thrill, it's I don't know.
Isn't that interesting though? It's a really good example of life, right? As soon as you master one level and you've got an ambitious personality that you want to grow within yourself, you know, you've got to go to the next stage, which is how you've grown in business, how we've grown in business, but from a poker capacity too.
It's that competitiveness, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I always played soccer.
Yeah.
When I was young, so you stop doing that because you get too old and you can't run anymore. And
biology catches up, right?
Yeah, that's it.
You play the reserves.
Yeah. You play the over 35s and the over 40s.
Is that what it's called? Yeah, the older people.
And bloody hell, I don't want
Open age.
Yeah, I'm not playing over 35s.
No, not the reserves. The reserves are the young ones or the old
Reserves are the young
ones.
Oh no, I meant the open age.
That's the old under 23.
I meant the open age.
Old under 23,
Sorry.
I forgot what I was saying.
We were talking about how you weren't going to get enjoyment out of that level anymore, so then you went up.
Oh, well, yeah, that's right. So it was a competitive thing because, you know, soccer finished and whatever. I like being around the boys. I'm kind of a boys' boy.
Yeah.
So, it's always good fun to get on the table, and it's really relaxing for me now, even sitting at the bigger games. It's just, I switch off.
Do you drink while you play, or you got to be? Yeah.
I'm not a big drinker.
Right.
But if you're there for bloody 8 hours playing a game of poker,
Yeah, but some people, I think, if they drink, it will ruin their clarity. Not everyone. Some people are great when they drink. I don't know. I'm just saying.
It depends. You're not putting down a whole bottle of scotch. You're probably having a few.
It depends.
Maybe you are.
You know what it is?
I'm sure the pros.
I'm talking about I get tipsy off of one drink. So
that's a different standard.
What that's about.
I'm sure the pros, like when I play a proper tournament, obviously, you know, World Series or Aussie Millions or stuff like that, I don't drink.
Sure.
You know, I'm not drinking at tables and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm not a big drinker anyway. I generally drink to get drunk.
Sure.
I don't really enjoy alcohol, so I'm not going to sit there drinking.
That's really
something.
good.
So, but in saying that, all the pros in that, which I'm certainly not, but all the pros that they wouldn't be drinking when playing. No.
Yeah, and so for Australia, so when you were here back in the day playing, I remember they used to do the pub tournaments and that sort of thing. Were you in those back then? We
started playing a pub. Yeah, we went around a couple of times and played Alma and a few other places, and that's where it developed from the home game to that kind of pub poker thing.
Yeah. Wasn't there one at Glynde Corner?
Yeah, Glynde. We played at Glynde. Yeah. We played at Glynde and then kind of cut that out pretty quickly.
Yeah, what's that?
It's just a different game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of once you grow in a game like poker,
Sure.
there is a strategy, and it makes it hard to implement that when you're playing a game where, and I'm not saying it's not a good game. I mean, it's fun, and it's for people enjoy it, and there's a lot of people still playing it. But for me, the levels, like how it's a chip stack that they give you. If you got to understand poker to kind of understand what I'm talking about, but the level, it's more of a game designed to finish in a certain amount of time.
Okay.
So it's based on luck towards the end.
Okay, that makes sense.
They take all poker out of it. It's kind of like you just got to get it in,
Get it done.
hope for luck.
Yeah, so you get rolled. Yeah,
pretty much. I'm not the luckiest person around. So
That's killer.
the normal games now, that's kind of out of, it's up to you.
So they I remember back in the day, I used to play online a little bit too.
Yeah.
Did you? So from the pubs go to sort of online more?
Yeah,
or?
I did.
Yeah.
No, I played online. I don't like it online though.
No, because you can't read people.
Not that as well. I'm a people's person. I like sitting on the table and having a chat, and I talk a lot.
But you reckon it's all rigged, like online?
I think that there's a bit of that
it's computers,
going on.
man.
I don't like it. I never did. But I know a lot of guys who have made a lot of money.
Online
A lot of money playing online poker. And these are kids who can't get into casinos.
But you can't play online poker here anymore, can you?
No, they banned it to his. I still know players who play. So I think you can use a VPN or whatever. I think there's a few different forums that you can get on and play, but I don't know really, because I don't play much.
Yeah,
I haven't played online for years.
These days, kids can win on Fortnite or whatever, isn't it? These computer games.
Yeah.
Some kid won like millions of dollars.
Well, more than.
He won the Fortnite World Cup, and he won
Djokovic
$3.5 million for winning that over there.
And
No, someone just someone
was 16
won
years
24
old.
million, I think, wasn't it? Something
24 mil.
I don't know. I think it was something.
That's a different game.
Was it?
That's a different game.
What
yeah.
game is that?
That'd probably be Dota 2 or something
How do you
like
know all this?
that. I like gaming, right? But no. Yeah, Fortnite. They just had the first World Cup, and the kid was 16 years
Good
old.
on him.
It was an Aussie kid, was it?
No, he's American.
Oh.
Yeah, 16. But he took out $3.5 million. But after tax over there, ended up being about 1.5 that he took home.
You get
right?
taxed.
But get this, right? Get
Really?
this. Get this.
30%
Get this,
America.
right? He's got a Twitch channel, which is where they stream obviously live games. So he's playing Fortnite, and people are watching him. He has like 50,000 people watching him at any time, right? The fans got that pissed off that he got taxed that much for the prize money that they actually donated another $500,000 to him, right?
Like he needs it at that
Yeah,
age, though.
good
What's
on
he
him,
going to
that's
do with it?
bullshit.
That's what he said.
Like the tax is no good,
He's
but
16 years old. It's not like he has an income anyway.
Yeah.
Like he's a gamer, man. It's not like he's got a full-time job and that's accumulating. Like he's
But you're a millionaire at
That's-
16 too.
That's in America. They
America.
tax you 30%.
Is it 30%?
Whatever he got
30.
taxed.
Well, I know on poker it's 30% tax if you're. It depends where you're from though. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure the guy who won the World Series, I think 2 years ago, was an American guy. He made the same money as the guy who finished second, because the guy who finished second was English.
On the
And they're
taxable
exempt.
bracket.
They're exempt
Why?
from. Well, I think it's England. There's a few countries
That
that
are
are,
exempt. Is
and I think
Australia?
Italy's one of them. So I got to get my Italian passport
The
set
Italian
up.
passport.
doing that.
I think no, Australians not. We pay.
We pay.
We pay 30%.
Of course we do.
Yeah.
Just use your Italian passport.
If there's an option for us to pay or not pay, we're paying.
Yeah.
That's it. Like,
But-
Do we get charged here?
No,
For winning?
no,
No.
you don't get taxed anything on winnings in Australia
unlike,
That's good.
cross-load.
unless you're a professional. Unless it's your profession, then you got to pay tax.
Taxable, yeah, okay.
If you're a pro
I was going to say golfer.
pro poker player, if you're a pro
Poker.
then you do. Yeah.
So you went over to Vegas, obviously playing tournaments. How many people sort of enter the tournament?
So the main event, I think that year was about 7,000.
Shit.
Started, yeah.
And how many
Where'd you
days it
come?
go for?
What?
7 days.
7 days.
Goes for 7 days, yeah.
Where'd you place?
I can't remember exactly, but it was about. I was just out of the money, about an hour and a half out of getting into the money. Top 1,200 got paid. I had enough to get into it, but I went for a spot that was, I played a kind of. I try to take the buy-in out of it, right? So I try to not think about how much I've invested to play this game, and play the game. So you got to do that, or else the pros will just take total advantage of you. If you're thinking about money.
Right.
So I had a spot and I went with it. It didn't matter what game was that, and he had a big hand. I had a big hand. I lost.
The two big boys on the table going at it. Is that what it was?
He was the biggest stack in the tournament.
Shit.
He was the biggest stack in the tournament.
The whole tourney.
In the whole tournament on my table,
Oh my God.
And he had just got moved there like 3 hours before. And I'd played with him for 3 hours, and I knew what he was doing the majority of the time, and because he was just bullying people, he was running over the table.
Yeah, of course, when you got that much.
Yeah, and you got to take a stand on it, and I did twice. Played back at him and he folded, so I knew he was a good player. He wasn't just he wasn't just going crazy. He was a very good player, so he knew he could put pressure on, and if someone applied back and he didn't really have much, he folded. It was fine. So this was all pre-flop before we saw any cards.
Oh really? What did you have? What did you have in your hands?
I had ace king of hearts, and he had jacks, pocket jacks. So it was kind of hand that played out how it was, and he had 3-bet out of position. Another guy had raised, he 3-bet. And it sucked because what happened, it was kind of destiny. I should have folded.
Yeah.
And I never fold ace king. Well, I don't like to anyway.
Yeah.
But the lady who was kind of, we were the last table left in the Amazon room, and then because all the tables combined, and we're the last table left, and the lady came around and she was like, I was in the big blind, so I already had my chips out, but the dealer hadn't shuffled or nothing yet. And she said to him, to the dealer, close the table, the guys are moving out, like going into another room.
Yeah.
So as I went to take my chips back, he was like kind of going like this, the dealer, and he shuffled and he cut. As soon as he cuts, I didn't know this, but as soon as he cuts, they have to deal out the hand. So he looked over and he went, someone mentioned or whatever, and he was like, and she's like, you cut, you have to deal out this one, play this one.
Oh, that was a sign.
So I'm like, I'm in the big blind.
Yeah.
And so I put in my whatever it was, and guy raises, the normal guy 3-bets as usual. He was an English guy. He 3-bet. I looked down, I've got ace king of hearts. And
suited.
Suited.
Oh, bullshit.
So I tanked for a little bit, and I'm pretty sure I could get him to fold a lot of hands. I'd got him to do it before, so I jammed. I thought it was a good spot for me to take down a pretty decent pot without seeing cards.
Yeah.
The other guy folded straight away, and he tanked for about 4 or 5 minutes.
What does tanked mean?
He just was thinking.
Okay, thinking. Sorry.
So
that's cool.
So I was really happy because I was like, okay, he's thinking about calling me maybe here with ace queen or something like that.
Yeah.
I always want to see him turn over ace queen there, and great spot to be in. He's a huge underdog, and all cameras came running over because he was a big stack in tournament. All these cameras came running over and they started filming it, and I think that got into his head a little bit. I was thinking, I don't know, but
He
had a lot of chips though, and he still took that amount of time. And then he eventually grabbed him and he's like, he just put him in.
Oh, shit.
So he was hesitant.
He was very hesitant because I had a discussion with him later about it. And he turned over jacks. I didn't expect to see it, but
what did you feel when you saw the jacks?
I was okay because it was like, I still know I've got 8 outs and any draws and whatever. So you got to have those flips to win tournaments, plain and simple.
Yeah.
And you've got to win them.
So was this before the flop, or
this is all pre-flop?
Pre-flop.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I played back at him after a 3-bet. I 4-bet, and he knows my 4-betting range should be pretty strong. So at best, he's hoping that I've got ace king, and that's exactly what he said to me. He said, at best, I'm hoping that you got ace king, and we're pretty, we're pretty even there on the flop.
Yeah, if he's got pockets.
Yeah, if he's got pockets, and I've got 2 overs to his jacks.
Yeah.
So he said, where obviously I didn't want to see queens, kings or aces, which you could have, I didn't think you would do that with 10s, he said to me, and I probably wouldn't have done it with 10s.
Yeah.
Probably, I don't know, would have been a hard spot. I don't know, might have folded.
But you're big blind as well.
Big blind.
Sort of shit.
I don't want to flat call. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done.
So what cards came out on the flop?
Jack.
Oh my God.
Jack, Queen. So it was Jack Queen. So I was actually drawing. I lost out, so I drew to 4 out. So I had a straight draw.
Were they hearts?
No hearts.
Oh.
So I turned a straight draw.
Yeah.
Didn't get there on the
So you
river.
didn't get a 10.
Didn't get there. No.
That's all right. Well,
Busted.
you're here to tell the story.
Yeah, that's it.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, I mean, and obviously there's lots of prize money to be won once you get to those higher levels. But here in Australia, so what's sort of the biggest tournament that someone can play?
The Aussie Millions.
The Aussie Millions.
Yep.
Yeah, and what's the sort of difference in prize pool money from like Aussie Millions to?
So I think last year in Aussie Millions, I think it was 3 million first prize.
Yeah.
The World Series is 9 million.
Yeah.
I reckon it was 8 million first prize.
Yeah.
I know a guy I played with a fair bit here. He came. He's an Australian boy from Queensland. He came 5th last year, and
Shit.
he got 1.6 million or something like that. Yeah.
In the Aussie.
In the World Series.
The World Series.
Mm.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
You knew that guy.
Yeah, I played with him a fair bit. Yeah.
And like when you played with him, was he always like a sort of standout, or was he just on par?
He's a
with
good
everyone
player.
Else? Yeah.
He's a good player. But I never have problems playing. Like, I don't really worry about my player
Other people.
anymore.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Some of them you do. It just depends. Like him, I wasn't. And then there's other times when you're like, Jesus Christ, man, this guy's a superstar. Like, you just know how good they are.
Yeah.
And I've been in positions before where in bigger tournaments, especially early when I was playing, and I found myself in a big tournament in like going deep, and we're getting into some good money.
Yeah.
And I definitely felt like I was the worst player
Yeah.
left. Do you know what I mean? Like I felt that in the I'm like, shit, these guys are good. Like, it's
So
just
do you reckon
constant
your
pressure.
mindset then gets you off track?
No, it helped me that year because
Right.
I knew, I didn't think that I was better than anyone at the table. So I was playing very cautiously. I probably made a few mistakes that I wouldn't now. I'd play back more.
Yeah.
But it definitely helped me. So I went over to my mate who was railing me, who was watching, railing.
Railing.
And I said to him,
What is that?
because I had a decent stack. And I said to him, man, these guys are good. I'm going to fold every hand. I'm just going to play ABC poker. I'm going to fold every hand and play big hands. Because these guys are all internet. I knew my opponents. There were internet kids, there were Germans, and some real good pro Aussies.
Yeah.
So I knew that these guys, it was an ego thing for them as well. They want to win.
I was
So they're all going to kill each other.
You were humble, it sounds like.
Yeah,
You had a humble approach.
Pretty much. But also there was big money. I'd never played for that amount of money. And there was 15 people left.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
We're already in decent money, but we're playing for some good money. So I just said to Andrew, I'm going to fold everything here. He goes, yeah, man, pick your spots and just do that. And I said, these guys are going to kill themselves around me because they were just going crazy. These guys, I was thinking and some of the hands they were turning over, once someone 3-bet and 4-bet and 5-bet, I'm like, Jesus Christ, they're turning over. I thought, how the hell has he got this right now? It was like a 5-bet bluff. And shit like that was going on.
Shit.
And
I mean, intense as fuck. Like,
it was crazy.
Top 15. Like, I mean, insane.
It was crazy. And I folded so many hands. Just people died around me. And I just went pay jump. This is okay. It was all right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Passive approach.
Yeah.
So what's I've always wondered, like, what's the camaraderie like with other poker players? Because it seems like you get along with a couple of them to have like decent conversations about the game after. Is it always like that, or is it people like?
Well, I've got a lot of mates now who play. We travel a lot together, and mates because through poker.
Through poker, yeah.
One good mates. We were already good mates. Like, I was in his wedding and everything. So me and him generally talk a lot. We stay in the same hotel rooms. So we
just
get
travel
home
together and that sort of
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, and when we're always talking about hands and how we could have played it differently or what we should do in a spot. So we talk about that a lot, and and then other guys that we travel with now. It's a lot of bad beat talks. Like, shit, how that fucking happened to me? Like, I can't even believe he did that.
How do you pull that out on the river? It's like,
it's just like,
7-2 going in with when he gets me on the river.
So there's a lot of, but most of the guys that I played with, whether them be pros or amateurs like me. They're all cool, man. Everyone's pretty cool. Everyone's chilled. There's not many sports in the world where you're playing for huge money, like at the World Series, for example, and like think about, do you ever think you could play on a soccer pitch with Ronaldo?
Yeah.
Or basketball with LeBron?
Nah, I'm 5'10", bro. It ain't gonna happen. You know what
Well,
I mean?
they wouldn't do it anyway. You wouldn't ever have that opportunity.
Yeah.
But in poker, you can literally
have
be
that
drawn against Phil Ivey next to you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's just random as.
Yeah.
That's a really good perspective to have.
It doesn't matter because it's poker. It's open to anyone to buy in, and that's why. And half the time, I prefer to not know who's at my table. Last World Series, I'm at the table.
It's very true though. When you think about sports, what other sport could you be sitting next to, like the title winner, the champion?
Yeah.
Unless you
can't go to boxing and like just straight fight Mike Tyson for the championship. You know what I mean? Like you can't do anything like that.
I was sitting next to a guy. I played with him. I was playing with him for hours.
Yeah.
No idea who the guy was.
Yeah.
And Andrew had moved tables, and this is World Series again, and he's moved to like table pretty close to me. And there's so many tables in. Like I'm talking heaps of tables in this place.
Yeah.
I don't know why he had to get moved next to me. And I was playing really good. Lucky I had taken. It was me and him. I had taken a huge pot off of him and pretty much killed his stack.
Yeah.
So it wasn't dangerous anymore. But I didn't know who he was, right? Then Andrew texts me and he's like, "Do you know who's to your left? Be careful. The guy to your left's like a superstar." I'm like, "Who is it?" And he told me his name. He goes, "Google it." I said, "Well, I just took nearly all his stack."
Yeah, don't even worry about it.
I was like, blah, blah, blah. And then I Googled him. Man, like this guy's buying into $1 million games.
Shit.
See, you know what? How good was it you didn't know?
Because I wouldn't.
You know what I mean?
Exactly, because what happened, it changes. Even though you take the money out of it, the money side of it out of it, you're nervous because I know who he is, and then I know that he's not scared to play back because he doesn't care about the money
at
all.
Right.
I know that he doesn't care about the money.
Yeah.
He's playing for the prestige. So I ran a bluff on him. It was a semi-bluff. Like I had outs, so I bet the flop with nothing. Turned a straight flush draw and got there on the river.
Yeah.
I got there a flush on the river and he paid me. Okay. So it was kind of like, but I would never have played back at him on the turn if I knew who he was.
See, and that brings me to that point. I think I believe in life, everything's about mindset.
Yep.
So it's good to know your opponents, but then in this case, it's also good not to know your opponents because, exactly what you would have influenced your game.
It would have influenced my game, definitely.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what did you do, like, we say you played soccer, right? You train, obviously, to get better before you play the game, right? Is there did you study body language, or is there some things that you looked at or you picked up over time? Like, how do you improve your skills?
Good question.
So obviously the first part of it when we were sitting down with the boys playing at home was shit. I got aces, I got kings, I got ace queen, I got ace king. You knew decent hands. Then the next aspect of it that when I really started getting into it was I'm kind of like funny enough, I'm not good with maths.
Yeah.
I'm not good with. I'm shit, man.
Yeah.
I can't work out anything.
Yeah.
But and you're meant to be.
That's
good
what calculators are for.
You're meant to be. Well, that's exactly right. You're meant to be good at maths when you're playing poker.
Yeah, because
I'm not very good. I'm not.
Head,
I'm not very good at all.
No.
But I can work out enough. But so for me, it was more. So I learned the game on a different in regards to position on the table. So first it was about the cards.
Yep.
That's what I thought. And then it was about people's betting. How much to bet at times. Okay, what does that bet kind of mean? What's he trying to tell me? Because poker's telling a story. Every street that you see is telling a story. You got to I'm trying to sell a story to you that I've got something, right? Or I'm trying to sell a story that I don't have something, or want it to look like
I don't want to do, and that's
but I really do because I want you to call.
Variables.
Yeah. So there was that. Then I kind of learnt really quickly that position on the table was important. So
what do you mean by position?
So where you're sitting on the table in regards to where the button, the small line, and the big blind
I thought
are.
that was only for blackjack.
No.
Is that for poker as well?
So like, you know, if I've got ace jack or king queen suited, you know, good cards normally, you know, you'd think they're good cards. But if I'm in early position in a big tournament, it's generally going in the muck. I'm not playing it, because if I bet or if I flat call, it looks weak, number one. If I raise and you get re-raised, what do you do with a hand like that?
Nah.
You're just losing chips.
Yeah.
So because you've got so many other people to get around then when you're first to act or
Makes
second to
sense.
act.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was positioned. Then I probably grew a little bit more balls after being in a few spots.
Yeah.
And
Having that
then
experience,
the experience. And then like that year I was telling you about, ended up finishing. I folded my way to second.
Oh, did ya?
Yeah, folded my
Nice.
way to second.
So that's why you're on the prize pool site, that you can see how much you made, because you made good money that year finishing
Yeah,
second,
we went
right?
alright,
Anyway, we'll leave that to the
Yeah,
side.
it
but
went alright that
Yeah, anyway.
But so then a year later, same tournament, I went deep again, but I felt so much more comfortable.
Yeah, right.
Like when I was down to the last 12 again, and I felt more comfortable. I was you know, definitely like, I'm like, okay, I can play against these guys. I still knew who was really good, but I wasn't as worried. And yeah, it's that experience and that playing for that kind of.
That's killer. Because like I've always wondered, like when you are playing, you're looking at the other players around the table and their mannerisms and movement and that sort of thing, or what?
Yes, but I do, but not as to the extent of some players.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yep.
So is there like an easy sort of telltale sign, like when you're playing against, say, an amateur, that they always do to let you know, sort of like, or is there like certain body language movements that
For me, it's like, no, I don't really, like I said, I don't pick up on that all that much. For me, it's more about the actual game itself. They're talking.
Yeah.
I tend to pick up on.
Yeah.
And either how long they take to bet sometimes, or definitely the amount that they're betting. For me, it's amateurs get it wrong a lot. And well, you know, amateurs get it wrong a lot. Their bet sizing, and you know, that's normally that's a tell.
yeah, dude.
Normally.
it's really good to know.
But the pros, they definitely look into everything. That's why you'll see a lot of poker players that are fully covered up when they're playing. You know, because they might have a twitch, and people are trained on
hats, hoodies, sunnies, all this
hats,
stuff.
hoodies, sunnies.
Yeah.
And I think it should be banned personally.
Yeah,
I don't think it should be allowed.
yeah, it's like covering up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think if
Well, you can't even get into the casino with sunglasses on.
no,
Yeah, well, it depends which
So
case.
how can they
you
play
know?
a game?
you sit
I
down and
remember
play.
I didn't get into the Adelaide casino because I had ripped jeans.
Oh really?
Legit.
And now people rock up in trackies.
Ripped jeans, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were classy though, don't get me wrong.
Of course they were.
I mean, I could talk about poker all night. but,
Me too. Yeah.
I won't.
So the
because-
styling's good, yeah.
Yeah.
Bold spaces.
Okay, I know
Bold
we're gonna go to
spaces.
dinner and get food. I can hear your
Yeah.
stomach rumbling from here. So that's right.
I mean, yeah.
In regards to bold spaces, so you're across social media and everything, yeah? So,
Yeah, we're on Instagram and on Facebook.
So what's your handle? Just bold_spaces, or what is it? Boldspaces.com.au is a website or
I have no
anything?
idea.
Yeah.
I've got someone who does it. I should have.
yeah.
You could have told me I was
Yeah,
going
well-
to get asked this question.
We'll look
I'll
it
put the
up.
link there.
Find us on Bold
I'll put the link.
Spaces. Find us on Instagram and on.
Just type in bold spaces. There
and
won't be too.
type in Bold Spaces on Instagram and Facebook. It's got more of our new stuff, and all. It's all more updated than our website is, because initially it wasn't really driving anyone to our website.
Sure. We don't really need to, to be honest. It's all social media. Across, yeah.
So yeah, it's more all our Instagram and Facebook. That's where you want to check us out.
All right, look him up. Anyone who needs sell a property or needs to stage a property, just hit up Frankie boy.
Give us a call.
Give him a call, and he'll
I'll
make it
style
happen.
it.
Even if it's a day before, it's a special high pressure situation.
Try to give me a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, if you can organise your life.
It would be good.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
you'd help it out. And Rets, thanks for coming on and speaking with us today too. It's been
Thank
cool.
you, and thank you for providing me with a pink mic.
Yeah, that's cool. All
And
right.
we'll give you some poker lessons soon.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. We'll do
Here,
it.
this is
We'll do it
perfect
night.
table.
Yeah, we'll do it
Perfect
night.
I'm going to cut off a couple of edges, but
Nah, it's all right. It's all right. Can't even come to. It's all
Yeah.
good. All right. But thanks for that. We've been going for a while. So, let's go
Awesome.
eat and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, guys. Ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.